he's a relative success story for the Pirates. He was pretty good while he was here. Like, I don't try to have a revisionist take here and say that Garrett Cole was never good here. Obviously, he was. The real problem for the Pirates, and now it's the previous regime, obviously, is that they didn't get anything for him when they traded him, but they also never really harnessed this Garrett Cole. Like, even though he was the best of their kind of crop of pitchers that became even better elsewhere, the problem with him is just how much better he became. He looks like the best starter in baseball pretty obviously right now, and he was never that with the Pirates because they had some artificial handcuffs placed on him.
They did. They had a certain style of pitching, which he was not really engaged in, and he made it known, and next thing you know, he's gone. And you're right. Essentially, all they have now is Colin Moran left in that deal, and that's pretty much it.
He's on the injury list right now. And by the way, one other thing on Garrett Cole. I mean, he's got all these spin rates and all this fancy stuff happening. Do we really believe that he and a bunch of other pitchers haven't found new and interesting substances to put on the ball to help their grip and stuff? Like, let's not all be Pollyanna here. There's a reason these guys are doing insane stuff with their curves, with their fastballs, and everything else. And baseball is happy to let them do it, just for the record.
Just like they were happy when Sosa and McGuire were going at it and Bonds was hitting all his home runs too. It's good for the game. It's good for business, and business is always booming when that happens. All right, let's go to the lines. We got John in Banksville. We got a lot of Johns on the phone lines here tonight, 3 of them. But John in Banksville, you're going to be our first John.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
We're good.
A couple of comments on the Penguins. I'm not going to beat a dead horse with Jory's performance. We all know about that. But a couple other things. You guys said, and a lot of people said, that the 2 areas of concern they should look at were special teams and goaltending. Obviously, goaltending is a problem. And special teams, it was funny. It was the opposite. They had an excellent penalty kill on the double minor to Carter, but couldn't score in the power play.
Right.
And, I mean, I watched one of them. A minute 20 passed, and they didn't have one shot. They just passed it around. Someone got to go to the net and play more physical.
Pretty simple, I think. And you're right, John. And
Chris,
I
don't think the Islanders make it simple.
If they don't score on the power play, they're going to be doomed. They have to do it because on 5-on-5, I don't know if they can match up on throughout the entire series.
The Islanders just make everything difficult. Yeah. And if your goalie is not going to be extremely sharp, and Jari, of course, was terrible, they just kept firing at high glove, then you really need special teams. You know, they had a power play early in that game, I think their first one, where they basically spent the entirety of the 2 minutes in the zone, and they did have some high-danger chances. I'll live with that. You know, when you scare the other team, and there's a couple of plays where you could say, yeah, they definitely could have scored a goal. But I want to say it was the power play a little bit later on, just looked absolutely abysmal when they needed it to be better. They do. I agree that they need to cash in with the man advantage because the Islanders' entire kind of MO is don't give many chances 5-on-5, don't take many penalties, and when they do, you have to make them pay. And that, by the way, getting these power plays, to say nothing of converting on them, getting them requires effort, doing things the ugly way, dumping pucks in, winning puck battles such that you force them to take penalties to slow you down.
I think also the Penguins had not as good production out of their defensive core that they would have liked. I don't think Mike Matheson looked particularly confident in his abilities, and I think that pairing of Marino and Pettersson, Marino got bowled over by Palmieri on that game-winning goal. Those guys have got to be better, and if Dumoulin can't play tomorrow, now he's supposed to play. But, Chris, I could argue that he's more important than Malkin right now. I think you need him in there. If he does not play tomorrow, I think that really changes a lot of dynamics for their defensive core.
Yeah, it would tax them badly. I mean, I hate saying, like, he's more important than Malkin, but we saw how great they were once he came back in the lineup, Dumoulin, I mean. And the way this series is probably going to unfold with the Islanders trying to tighten things up like a vice even more, I just wonder if Evgeny Malkin, if you got sort of the bad version of him if he came back, would be trying to make too many plays and sending them the other way on odd man rushes too often. I would agree, though, for this series, I think Dumoulin is more important, and they better hope that this really was a maintenance day and not a cover for something worse.
Let's go out to John in Ross Township, who joins us now on Pittsburgh CW. Hey, John.
Hey, Bob and Chris. Hey, the Penguins have so much talent on this team, and even in the past years, 10 out of 11 playoff games they have lost. And I can remember being in Vegas 5 years ago when they played the first round with Boston, and they lost that. And I'm just wondering what the deal is, and if Sullivan's job's on the line. If the Penguins don't, they get knocked out of the first round here with the Islanders. I'll let you comment.
I don't think he's in any jeopardy of losing his job, but I do think there's a lot of goaltending disadvantages. Last year, Carey Price was a very good goaltender, as you would have expected, and the Penguins didn't match him. The year before, even though I think Murray was in net, he was okay. He wasn't great, but I think he got outplayed by the Islanders too. So it starts there, but there are other components, Chris, as well.
Well, Robin Lehner vastly outplayed Murray 2 years ago when the Islanders swept the Penguins. And the thing is, Lehner had no history against the team, so he went in kind of fresh. Varlamov being hurt might be a blessing in disguise because I think they broke him mentally years and years ago, and I would have rather seen him. Sorokin, though he's a rookie, I think, Pony was all over this. He said he thinks that would have been the right move anyway if they had just decided, well, screw it, we're going to start Sorokin. Well, Varlamov being injured means they put him in there, and he played well. I'll say this 10 out of 11 games are losses. You have to start looking at the fact that the Islanders account for 5 of them. I mean, this team has Jacques Lemaire as a special advisor to Lou Lamoriello, to Barry Trotz. You know who Jacques Lemaire was coaching, right, Pomp?
Oh,
those
yeah.
mid-'90s Devils teams that bludgeoned hockey to death. Well, you're getting the version of that. I mean, the Islanders are the closest thing in 2021 that you'll have to the 95 New Jersey Devils. I mean, short of Scott Stevens, Martin Brodeur, and a couple other guys hopping over the boards. You know what I mean? So the only way to beat a team like that, really, in my mind, is twofold. You have to have good goaltending, if not great goaltending, and you have to outwork them. That's not the way the Penguins like to play offense. They like to play pretty games, and I get it. It's fun to watch, but they're going to have to make this series ugly and beat New York at their own game.
Yeah, net front presence, all that stuff on both sides of the ledger. They got to get better in that department. Let's go to Pete in Squirrel Hill. Pete, what's up?
How are you tonight?
Good, thanks.
Hey, Bob, every time I hear the name Jacques Lemaire, I think about one thing. That guy on his right wing with the flowing hair with one of the 5 greatest shots in hockey history. The original Flower. This too, Bob. The guy last night said they should have pulled Tristan Jarry for the guy to back up. Who is that? Emerald Legacy. That guy had me laughing. Hey, Bob, listen, about tomorrow night, what's your prediction? What do you think's going on? Thank you.
I think they're going to win, Pete. I don't know about you, Chris, but I do. I think they're going to bounce back. I think Jarry will bounce back. I think it's one of those situations where they realize the importance of it, and they'll take their level of game to the next level. And it'll be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes right down into another overtime, but they need to get a win.
I've got a bad feeling right now. Nothing Jarry did instilled any confidence in me. And look at the Penguins' goals. Almost miraculous. If it was anybody else, you would say a miraculous tip by Crosby. Gaudreau's goal was an absolute snipe. Kasperi Kapanen's goal to tie the game was a snipe. Everything the Penguins got in that game felt unbelievably difficult and precise. And I just think that's going to continue. I think the Islanders have no fear of playing this team. They don't care about the names on the backs of these Penguins jerseys, and so far they've proven it, and I have a bad feeling about tomorrow.
We'll find out, but it's one of those games you're going to want to watch. All these games have been great so far. Right now it's time for our Tri-State Office Furniture Tweet of the Night, and this comes to us from MLB on Fox. It's about Garrett Cole, who we told you about. It's an MLB record of consecutive strikeouts without a walk. It ends at 61. He walked, of all people, Joey Gallo. Gallo was the same batter Cole was facing when he set the record earlier tonight. And Gallo gets on base, but 61 may stand for quite a bit. That's an efficient record, and congrats to Garrett Cole. We'll be back with more of your calls. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call right here on Pittsburgh CW.